Hello again, everybody. It's Harry Boxer, the technical trader at thetechtrader.com. It's Thursday, October the 6th. These are the charts of the day. Well, pretty sloppy stuff going on Wall Street. We were down, then we snapped back sharply, then we consolidated for the rest of the day, couldn't break up or down. Net, it was a very flat day. A lot of stocks are having a difficult time in here and are chopping around. There were some stocks that acted well. Today in particular, one of our swings, AERI, jumped to $1.15. Or about 3%, not a big deal, but you can see that the breakout of the flag that we recently saw continues with a 4-day upswing. And at this point, what I'm looking for, and we're going to be watching as early as tomorrow, can this get through that high that it reached at 41.72? If we do that, I'm looking for 47.8. That's my next target. We'll be watching this one tomorrow with nearly 4 days to cover. AUPH, well, an explosive move on the fact that they may have a cure for lupus, which is incredible since no company's come up with that yet. And you can see the stocks exploded from 2 to 569 today at the high. Now it did come down and close poorly, but it was still up 105 or 26% on 31 million. You can't deny that. Now, I did hear late in the day today from an institutional client that there may be this may be setting up for a secondary very shortly, and that could have been the reason why the stock backed off. But in addition to obviously a move from 3 and change to 5 and change very quickly. So we're going to be watching this tomorrow to see, number one, if it holds support around 493.5, and if it doesn't, whether it pulls back towards the prior high up around the 450 area. That could be support. And you can see the sharply rising channel here. A pullback to that level could be interesting for a snapback. Avon Products, one of our swing trades, broken out of a wedge recently. The last 2 days have been solid. Today traded 9.6 million. That's the biggest volume in 2 months as it moves up and through. To me, I'm looking for the stock to make it up towards 660.75 and then eventually towards 8 with 4.8 days to cover. Well, let's take a look at the gold situation. Now, dust obviously has rallied nicely, and I know some of you made money on it of late. Just 2 weeks ago, dust was trading at 27, and today's high was nearly 51. I'm thinking that short term is a little extended. It needs to pull back. Maybe test the 42 3/4, 43 range. Maybe back and fill in here. If it extends beyond this, you could see a quick run up to the next key resistance level, which takes this near 55.6. So if it does extend tomorrow, it's going to be a run up, and you're going to see NUGT get hammered back along with the JNUG. The JDST looks similar. You can see after the base and the moving average, by the way, have crossed over now, which is very positive because if this is the beginning of a long-term move, it could be powerful, and we can see this move up towards 42 and 51. Those are my next targets on JDST. Again, the targets here are 56.7, and then way up here near the gap at about 68.70. So it could be a powerful extension on these stocks. I'm not thrilled about the technicals necessarily on either. I do like the technicals much better on JDST. Same pattern here, long downtrends, bases, breakouts, moving averages crossing over. And normally we do get a pullback. At that point, I would look to sell NUGT, provided NUGT bounces off the bottom of the channel. Now, I did want to point this out. Obviously, the stock has come from 35.80 down to 11. And that only took a couple months. So you can see the 1, 2, 3. I'm looking for wave 4 before we get a big fifth wave down that could take this even into the high single digit 7 or 8. But for now, I would look to see if it snaps back and retests 13.5 area where yesterday's high was. And then maybe we can see something closer to 14.5 or even 16 where the gap would be tested. 1606 was the gap right there. Mid-channel, even if it only gets to mid-channel, I would call for a move to retest somewhere around 15. So I'm looking for more upside, or at least some kind of snapback. Now, worst case scenario is it's going back and fill and consolidate, and then maybe roll over. The best case scenario is it runs up and challenges that zone before and if it rolls over. Well, I wouldn't even call it the best case. The best case would be a big volume thrust to the upside and a strong follow through that takes and tests the gap between 16 and 17. Don't forget that triple bottom there was broken at 17, 15, 20. That is key resistance now. Moving on, Nano. This is a stock that I've liked a lot. It's one of my institutional clients gave it to me when it was trading in June at around the 18 range. It ran up to 22, it pulled back, it's now broken back out today, reaching 23.61. Top of the channel shows me a target near 27. I wouldn't be surprised to see that. Today was the biggest volume in a couple months. It didn't close great, but it did close above the breakout point. Keep an eye on this one going forward. Recent IPO, Impinj, PI exploded as you saw after the IPO. It's backing and filling in kind of like a lateral consolidation in a 1, 2, 3 wave corrective. If it can, not break down, stay below the 31, 32 zone, and then take out 38, we can see that stock in the mid 40s. Radcom's another thinly traded, really good looking chart. Breakout there, coil, breakout there, rising flag, and today another surge that took it all the way up to 21.49. Closed 21.29, up 104.5%. Volume was the biggest in a couple weeks, and the OBV is moving nicely. This stock could very well see 25 short term and 30 secondary target. UWTI, well, oil's been moving back up and got over 50. You can see that for 6 out of the last 7 days, the UWTI has been up. This is a triple crude oil. But there's resistance right here, across the line, right across here. So this area, in the last rally in August, took us to 28.70. Today's high, 28.18. We get to 28.70, there's a chance we could see 31. 31.75 actually was the high. So we'll be watching to see if it fails here and backs off, or busts through and tests the next level. Could be interesting. Big move in Zoomies today, exploding for 288 of 16% on 3.4 million, excuse me. And that gets it right up to resistance and fills this gap from March when it gapped down. The high just before that was 22.14. Today's high 21.77. You can see where this would be key resistance. But a lot of times when I see a massive move up, a big volume relatively, in the breakaway gap, we often start a new intermediate move, which could take you to 24, and then eventually something up perhaps in this zone, near 28.9 zone, would be my secondary target. And there's almost 9 days to cover on this one, so look out shorts. Now a quick look at some of the box of shorts we haven't looked at all week. BJ Restaurants, down $1.19 to 3 odd percent. You can see that the sharply declining channel now indicates it wants to go lower, at least it feels like it. Now there's always the possibility that this is a falling wedge and it snaps back, but if it does, I don't think it's going to get past 38.5. In any case, on a longer term view, you can see that the key next support is around 32.5, 33, which would be my next target. Flowers Foods, well, it really got hammered end of last year, beginning of this year. The snapback 3 times failed to read 19.75, and then it got hammered again. Well, guess what? It's forming yet another bear coil or bear wedge in here. Today dropped 30 cents, only 2%, but if it fails here, you can see a quick drop towards 12. Keep an eye on this one. Impacts Laboratories, well, it's a biotech, you're having a tough time. This one in particular never really did that well. And this rising wedge, right to the resistance where it broke down from, reversed pretty quickly last week when it got hammered down. And now for 3 days, it's forming this little bear flag. I'm looking for a test of the lows near 21. Beyond that, 18.5, 19. Another biotech not doing well is Ligand. Looks like a downsloping head and shoulders. It broke the trend line here, formed the rising wedge, broke that sharply. 3-day little mini bear flag, and now today it rolled over again, 274. If it takes out the spike low near 97, we can see this drop quickly for another 10 points to 87. Don't be surprised if that occurs. There's 11 days to cover. They may be right this time. Lockheed Martin dropping $1.88, small percentage, but the overall chart looks negative. With the big volume on the downside and the snapback on low volume, it's now beginning to roll over again. Those of you who are short, look for about 228, followed by something in the 220 range. LifePoint. Massive top completed, breakdown occurs, bear wedge. Now, technicals aren't as bad as I'd like to see, but if it does break, I'm looking for 49.5 and 45. Lululemon's just gotten hammered since its earnings report. Oh, down nearly every day for 3 weeks. Just a couple days here it would have bounced. It may bounce in this zone because it's support here, but if it does, it may be a short in the 63 area if I move down to 54.5. Mid-America apartment communities, some of these real estate firms are really getting hammered. I guess it's because of interest rates. You can see the break of the short-term channel, the intermediate channel, And right now coming down their support, I suspect we're going to get a test of around 83. If it breaks that, it could fall away into the mid-70s. Pretty bearish chart, but I'd be careful with this one as the underlying technicals aren't as weak on OBV as they should be. Red Robin Garbage Burgers continues to drift lower. As you can see, the inside day of a bearish nature could lead to more downside. My target at the bottom of this channel now is going to be 38. Another biotech, Taro, a pharmaceutical firm, TARO, broke its major top. It's been coming down hard for about 3 weeks. I wouldn't be so bold as to want to short it near support after a drop of 3-4 weeks. Look for a little bit of a bounce back near 120 for an exit opportunity, entry opportunity for a short. I guess it's in the mid-90s. And lastly is WebMed, bearish chart. See the breakdown, bear wedge, another breakdown in the bear wedge. Looking for more downside, 45.5 and 42 targets going forward. Folks, that's it for tonight. Have a good evening.